Hey, I'm Robert, Cook Saw Manufacturing. We've got a HD 3238 sawmill set up for a 1.25" blade, and we are going to change that over to an 1.5" blade. We're going to swap out our roller guides, and we're going to put an 1.5" blade here on the mill. I'm going to walk you through that process. If you got one of these mills or a similar mill and you want to change your blade size, we're going to walk you through how to get that done. First thing is I'm going to get this blade off of here. We got our tension handle. Crank that around. We are loosening tension on the blade. Go ahead and get the blade off the mill. Doors come out. I'm gonna push down on this blade, get a little bit of slack, move that wheel in, and see if we can do this one-handed here. And we want to get these guides off. So 3/4 wrench. And there is a jam nut that is holding this guide into place. So we're going to take that jam nut off both guides. The guide slides right off, put the new guide on, tighten it back up. Alright, so we got our jam nut off, guide just slides off. There is a bushing front and back. Now you should be, this is a new mill, but you should be greasing these guides every 4 hours of run time. So it will be a little messy, more so than we are on this new one here. But the guide comes off, we got the bushing front and back. Just gonna get it out of our way. When I put the new one on, and when you buy these guides from us, they have 2 bearings pressed inside with a retaining ring. Bearings can be replaced. But we sell these standard guides for $59 a piece. Should have a link below for that. And we sell this retrofit system for $129 a piece, and we'll put up a link for that as well. So slide on our bushing, slide on our guide. Bushings are interchangeable, and we'll put our nut back in place. And before I get this other 1.5" on there, we'll set it up there next to the 1.25". So I'll pop this bushing off. 1.25", 1 inch surface, teeth stick off the front, 1.5", 1.25" surface. So those teeth stick off the front, they're not riding back on that rib, and that gives us a good control on that blade. You can see the difference between those two there. I just want to snug it up, don't want to over tighten. Guide should free spin by hand. Spins freely, no play in them. So as far as changing the guides out, that is all there is to it. Now when we put this 1.5" blade on here, there's going to be more than just replacing the guides. We're going to need to track our band wheels, and we may need to slide these guides in and out for replacement. So we'll go ahead and get our 1.5" blade. Get that put on the band wheels, and I'm gonna position it where I wanted to end up with, so that gullet's just hanging off the front edge there. Get it on both sides. It's just kind of cheating it a little bit. Now if I put tension on it and spin that wheel, it's going to change. But I can go ahead and see that that guide does need to come back. So that flange is not on there. So I think we're going to go ahead and get that before we put tension on it. Square head bolts on the back. I'm going to loosen one on the top and try to loosen one on the side. There we go. Jam nuts and the square head bolts. Let's see, I want to loosen. And we're just going to slide this guide back into place. A little bit tighter and I can push, we'll loosen that bottom square head bolt as well. And there we go. Do the same thing on the other side. So our guides are back. As far as they're gonna go, I'm gonna hand tighten the square head bolts. They're not tight, but we don't have a whole lot of play in them. We're gonna put tension on the blade, spin it around, see how it's tracking on our band wheels. Good tension. And we'll turn this wheel around by hand. Now we can see where that blade's coming off the guide a good bit. So I want to slow and easy, make sure it's not run away from me. I'm going to put some speed on it. That definitely has to go back some. So we'll look at our tracking. On the idle side, real easy to get to. Loosen my jam nuts in between the two plates. A little bit harder to get to right here after I just said how easy it was. But a box end on my wrench, I can reach back there, and we want to tighten that bolt, which brings these two plates closer together, and that brings our band wheel back, and the blade is going to follow the outer edge of that band wheel. Brought it back, but I could stand to go back just a hair. We're 1/8 of an inch, maybe a hair over. I can run it right there, but it's a new machine going out. I do want it to get a little bit better. Maybe an 1/8 of a turn on the top. And try to match it about an 1/8 of a turn on the bottom. There we go, that gullet's just sticking out there. I can get my fingernail on it. That's what I'm looking for. Come over here to the drive side. It is sticking off over here. Let's say we're about where we started on the other one. Let's tighten it up as well. Now this one's got the belt guard on it. This is more difficult to get to. Belt guard does have to be removed, and I like to pop this belt off just to make it easier free spinning. I'm not fighting my belt. And I have the same tracking plate on this side of the mill. Drive bearing assembly is bolted to it, but I'm going to loosen those two jam nuts and we're going to tighten that plate. For just have that little bit of gullet I can catch my fingernail on. So we've got our tracking set right on our band wheels, and we want to go back to our roller guides. See, we've already got those loose. I had them finger tight, and I'm looking for the back of the blade. I want it running on this last rib between there and the flange. Do not want it touching that flange. Touching the flange will cause the back of that blade to create work hardness. Will make it brittle, will cause them to break. So I cannot have it riding back there, but if I have it running too far off, we run about a 1/4 inch down pressure, and if that guy's pushing on the back side of that blade, it will flip it up, cause those blades to rise. So we're looking for that back flange to the back, or the last rib to the back flange. That's where we want to set our alignment at. We're gonna bring this one out just a little bit. just got that little bit of gap there. And that's where I want to set it up at. And on this one, we did have to loosen that bottom bolt. So we're gonna have to go back and do our realignment on this one. And on our in feed or idle side, we can stand and bring that one out a little bit as well. So if we can get in here and kind of pry that out. Now, I do have tension on the blade. There is down pressure on this guide, so I may be able to push off that blade a little bit, make it a little bit easier to move. A little bit of gap there, that is what we are looking for. Let's get that one tightened back up. All right, and that is all there is to it. So if you got one of our mills and you're looking to change the blade size, first thing is we got to have the right size roller guide for that blade. If I've got 1.25 inch guide pushing on that blade, it's pushing on the back half of that blade and it will cause it to rise. I can get away with it. You will not be happy with the results. It's handicapping the sawmill running that way, but if you're in a bind and that's what you have, make it work. We'll need to replace our roller guides. When you go in, we need to track our band wheels for the correct size blade, and then we need to set the spacing on the guides. So hopefully that'll help some of y'all out, and we appreciate you watching our videos. If you would, if you got any suggestions, we sure appreciate them. We're going to try to get more and more of these videos out, just helpful hints. And like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks.